All right, Shalom. First off, I want to give all praises and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone. And Shalom to all the Akim out there preaching his word in truth and sincerity. This is Brother Shamar coming back with another lesson. And in this lesson, I want to go into how, Esau, he can't escape who he is, because that's what he's been trying to do for the longest, still to this very day. He wants to dodge or escape from being his true nationality, which is a Edomite. All right, he wants to be everything outside of that, but the scriptures show clear as day that who he actually is, according to the scriptures. He's Edom, he's Esau. All right, and I'm gonna grab some precepts backing it up, showing that he has to be the Edomites. The so-called white man has to be Esau. They have to be the Edomites. All right, it isn't no other nation that they would align with and fit, the characteristics or the traits of. All right, according to the scriptures. All right, so well, first I'm gonna grab Genesis 25 and 25 real quick. Let me see. I'm gonna start at 21. So Genesis 25 and 21, and Isaac entreated the Lord for his wife because she was barren, and the Lord was entreated of him, and Rebekah, his wife, conceived. So she got pregnant, and then it says, and the children struggled together within her, and she said, if it be so, why am I thus? Or if it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of the Lord. So while the children were in her womb, they struggled together within her, meaning they was fighting each other. All right. So has been going all the way back to the very beginning, as far as Jacob and Esau always having that, clashing, button heads, being one good against evil. All right. And Jacob is the progenitor of the Israelites, the 12 tribes of Israel. All right. So this has gone back to the very beginning, as far as the hatred that Esau has for the nation of Israel, all right, the children of Israel. Now this verse 23, it says, and the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. So there's 2 different nations within her, all right, and that nation was Esau, Edom, and then the other nation was Jacob, which is Israel. All right, because he went along later on down the line when you read Genesis to have, the 12, the 12 tribes basically, But continuing on, it says, and the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. All right, and you see that, we naturally better than Esau at everything that we do. All right. And it says the elder shall serve the younger. And who, you're going to see it, but who ended up coming out first? Esau. All right, and he's going to serve the younger, because we came out after Esau, but Esau, he hasn't went down as of yet, but he's going to come to that point where he is serving us, man. He's going to go into captivity. In verse 24, it says, and when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb, and the first came out red, all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. So he was the first one born that was so-called abnormal, because everyone prior to that was on the earth had some type of color, some type of pigmentation, melanin. All right. But he came out red, all right, and it like a hairy garment, because Esau, they're like way more hairier than than some Jakes be. But the Esau, he came out red. And who else is symbolic or the closest to being red? You know, because they're not white. You know, you got white clothes, white shoes. That's what white looks like. But they're not white. All right, they're actually derivatives of red, man. All right, that's who Esau, the so-called white man, is. He is Esau. He is Esau. All right, but continuing on, it says, and after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was 80 old when she bare them. So his hand, Isaac came, it didn't go into his skin color when Isaac was, not Isaac, but when Jacob was born. It only mentioned the skin color Esau because he was abnormal. Like I said, the only one that came out at the time that was different from everyone else. Showing you that, it, he basically he didn't have no that melanin color. All right, he was red, like it says, and all these Edomites, these so-called white people, they be red. They get mad, turn red. You be in the sun, you turn red. That's why they call them, the country rednecks and stuff like that. But when Jacob was born, he didn't go into the skin color because he was naturally melanated like everyone else was back in that time, around the world. So I wanted to get that first, and then since I'm already in this, I'm gonna go to Genesis 27, and I think it's around. Yeah, I'm trying to go straight to the point. Because this is going into when Jacob and Esau received a blessing from their father Isaac, and he was supplanted basically. All right, and then Esau was mad that he didn't get the blessing of the firstborn, which he already gave up. When you read further out, beforehand, he already gave it up, but then he tried to go back and get it anyway, being a serpent that he is. But then it was set up through the spirit where Jacob still got the first blessing, man. All right. And then he wanted to still receive a blessing from his father after finding out that Jacob still received that blessing. And this is pretty much the point I'm jumping into right now. This is Genesis 27 and 38. And Esau said unto his father, hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. All right, crying like a little, female, man. And Isaac, his father, answered and said unto him, behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth and of the dew of heaven from above. All right, so that was the blessing that he received, man. All right, and that's getting back to the point about, Esau being a so-called white man, Esau, Edom. All right. That's who he actually is, and there's no escaping that, because his blessing was the fatness of the earth, like it's going into here. All right, because I'm gonna get that next, but I'm gonna continue on real quick. It says, and by thy sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother, and it shall come to pass when thou shalt have the dominion that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. But he lives by the sword, and his blessing. So his blessing was the fatness of the earth, and he shall live by the sword. And that's exactly how, when you look at the history of Esau, Edom, all right, aka his so-called white man, look at his history. That's how he lives, man. Everything that he's ever gotten or established was by the sword, by death, all right, by deceit. And that's how we can narrow down who Esau, Edom is. He's still here. He never disappeared. All the nations that's in the scriptures, even though they may have a different name as of now, that they're classified as according to this, the society in modern day. They all go back to the scriptures at the end of the day, nonetheless. All right. Now this is Job 9:24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? Now, going back to what I had just read, who received the fatness of the earth? All right. It was Esau. And Esau, it's not like his line disappeared. He kept on, his line continued on just like every other nation in the scriptures, line continued on. All right. So their blessing was the fatness of the earth. And here it's saying the earth was given into the hand of the wicked. So who is the wicked? Who has the control of the earth? Who actually runs stuff on the earth? And you can see that that's a simple thing to see with anybody that has some type of sense. Just look at what's going on, and history and everything else. It's clear as day who runs everything. All right, the so-called white man. All right, that's why you have our people always complaining like, oh, it's it's hard to live in this society. It's set up against us. It's set up for our downfall. This and that. Well, you have the wicked in rulership. All right, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked, and he has that same hatred that he had all the way going back to the beginning, man. All right, he ain't ever lost that hatred. Like it goes into in Ezekiel, that perpetual hatred, man. Still to this day, he has that same hatred for all the tribes, not just you so-called Negroes. You got, all right, Jakes. He hates all the tribes, Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, man. But this is showing you who that wicked is, man, and who Esau, Edom is. You connect the dots, and you can see that. And that's why they took away the Apocrypha as well, man, because it goes into that history linking up who the wicked was, what they were doing, and how they went about conquering, man. All right. Now, the next scripture I want to get is in Habakkuk 2. And I'm going to start at 4. Behold, his soul, which is lifted up, is not upright in him, but the just shall live by faith. And that's right, man. His soul isn't upright, man. He can't help but just be a demon. It's just naturally in him to want to just do evil. All right. Like the scriptures say in Psalms, they go forth, they go basically out the womb speaking lies as soon as they be born. Bringing death everywhere they go. This is the same man that's still around to this day, because you still have those same things taking place to this very day. Everywhere this devil goes, he's bringing just confusion, death, and destruction. And you can look at his track record to see that still to this day, man. The Babylon being the prime example of that. Yea, also because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as death. And is that not what he do? You in everybody else's country, trying to so-called bring democracy, freedom over there. You really just trying to take over. And then the stuff that your so-called democracy and freedom that you bring is nothing but just death and confusion and destruction. Because the places, they'll be a lot better off before your ass came over there than where they are left off now after you coming over there. All right? And it says that he is as death. Look, everywhere, everything that this devil creates, everywhere he goes, all right, death going to follow behind it. Continuing on, it says, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. And that's what he got going on here in Babylon, man. You got all nations over here, just a big ass, confusion, big ass mess, But he cannot be satisfied. Here it is. He already has control of everything, but that ain't even good enough for this devil. He want to put a fucking a C-hip in you. You want to know every last thing that you're doing, every last thing that you bought, whatever, what are you looking at online, where you, everywhere you're going. He cannot be satisfied, man. And this is talking about that same wicked man who has control of the earth, all right, which I was going into in Genesis, the 27th chapter, whose blessing was to receive, the fatness of the earth, man. Esau, man. And look what he's done with it. All right, just completely destroyed the earth. Got everybody bugged the fuck out. The place is just completely through, man. And this is what happens when you have the wicked in rulership, man. Matter of fact, I can get that too in Proverbs 29:2. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice, but when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn. So it's clear as day that the wicked has to be in rulership, man. Everything just shows that the wicked are in rulership because everything's out of order. All right. The people are mourning. Wickedness is at an all-time high. Literally, death is just everywhere around you. The food, the air, the water. All right. Even when you at home, hell, you can't. There's no escaping it. That's why this place has to be destroyed and Esau has to be taken down, man. All right. And I'm gonna wrap it up on this. The 2nd Ezra 6. I'm gonna go straight to the point. 6 and 9. Well, I'm gonna start at 8. 2nd Ezra 6 and 8. And he said unto me, from the Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born, of him Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau, and that represents us taking him out of rulership, man. Remember that it said the elder shall serve the younger, and that hasn't happened as of yet, but it's getting ready to happen in the near future. Okay. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. And that's exactly what you see going on, man. All right. This devil is leading the world into destruction, into death. All right. So he's going to be around still when this world comes to an end. And it doesn't mean that the literal world is going to be destroyed. It just means that his rulership, this society, is going to be destroyed because the earth is always going to be here forever. The scriptures say that. It just means that he's going to bring an end to this age, so to speak, into this world, the world this current world that we're living in. And then it's going to be a new world, all right, wherein dwelleth righteousness. Like it mentions in 2 Peter's. It's going to be established on the same earth, man. After this world is destroyed, all right, the world of Esau, Babylon, all right, aka America. Hey, so with that, I'm going to wrap up and give all praises and glory to Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai Ba'Shem Rakakwadash. Double honors to our apostles and elders again, a great millstone, and Shalom to the Akim out there preaching his word in truth and sincerity. Shalom.